Good evening and welcome back to Community Crossfire. I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver. I have some special guests on this evening. Start with a friend of mine, council member, doesn't need any introduction, very known throughout the city of Wilmington. But I'm going to let him introduce himself anyway and tell us several of your titles.
Hello, this is Councilman Vincent White, 1st District. Among one title, I'm the Vice President of Delaware Affordable Housing Group, is my second title, and I am still the President of the Northwest Civic Association. So I still have that title. So I'm very, very involved in all aspects of the district and of the city. So thanks for having me today.
Sure. Storm's on vacation, so we are just going to take over the show. So when you say, how long have you been the
President of the Civic?
Yeah.
I was the President of the Civic for the last 17 years.
Wow.
When I moved into the district 19 years ago, I got involved, stayed involved, became the Civic President, and been voted as the President since that time. But, you know, in doing so, that allows me really to understand the issues in Northwest Civic. And that's from quality of life issues, that comes from serving the seniors, that comes from, obviously, the PAL is in my district. We're building a new library in the first. The North Library is still there. I've been involved with all of those communities and more, but it's allowed me to understand at a grassroots level the issues of the districts. So it's been good service for a good reason.
Good. Well, I would like to let everybody know I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver. I'm running for re-election for the 3rd District. I'm going to give you a couple of chairs. Name a couple committees that I'm on. I am the chair of Public Works. I'm on Youth and Family. On so many of them. Aging and Disability. As everyone know, my pet peeve is working with seniors and working with youth. I work with all individuals, but the youth, I really have a strong heart for, and the seniors. The ones in between around my nieces and them age, they can get up and get around, but the youth need a little help. And the seniors, one day I'm gonna be a senior and I need somebody to help me. So them were my pet peeves.
Well, let me ask you a question, Councilwoman. You mentioned you're on a couple of committees. You're the chair of what?
No, you're not asking me the questions. I'm the host. I asked you the question. I'm going to ask you, what committees are you on?
I got on health and aging. I don't know why I got on that. But I also got on education, and I happen to serve as your vice chair on public works. So as a council person, those are committees that I really think I benefit from being on, especially public works. As you know, we get a chance to take a look at a lot of the issues, whether it's water, sewer issues, road maintenance. That budget comes through you and the committee members. And I know you've been involved a lot longer than I have, so you have a good understanding of those issues. But it's helped me, again, to look at the real issues that's going on in the city in terms of infrastructure, in terms of water quality, in terms of where we're going to be or where we need to be as a city in the next 2-3 years, and things have changed.
I'm glad you mentioned the water quality, because a lot of people don't know that the state of Delaware is we have one of the cleanest water systems. I think we're like the 3rd in the nation. So a lot of people talk about, our water and the increase in water, $1, $2. Me personally, I get my nails done. I have a glass of wine every now and then. So I'd rather pay $2 for clean water opposed to being like Flint, Michigan. Right. What's your thoughts on the water?
I think one of the first things I did once I was joined council was to tour 2 departments. And that was water department and public works.
And how that water look?
I spent a day out at the water just to understand the treatment process, understand the equipment, the chemicals that was going on, to look at the irrigation pond, to just talk to the technicians. And nobody asked me to do that. I just think that's what I should be doing. What I found out is that Wilmington treats a lot of water and treats it well. And when I say well, W-E-L-L, the technology that goes into making certain that water is clean, safe to drink is expensive.
Yeah.
And plus you have employees. So the costs related to the services that we get are, to me, very minor. But at the end of the day, let's talk about this issue. You know, we've had, as council, we've had people say to us that our water bills are too high. And you made a perfect comparison that they're not comparative. People will pay more for a bottle of water than they will opening the tap faucet. And so I think it's an education process. And I believe this would be true. Anybody can tour.
Yeah.
And talk to the engineers and put the hard hat on and walk those. No, it's not the best smelling
No, it's
places,
not the best smelling
but
place.
to understand that this is not a game. Nobody's trying to hype you, but it's the cost of maintaining safe, decent water.
I was glad when you said you had toured it, because that was the first thing I had Vince take me out and walk through, and took me out there. Like I said, it wasn't the best smelling place, and I was glad I had on some sneakers that day.
Yeah, it's a big place.
It was a big place. So tell me a little bit more about what are your constituents like? What are two of your main issues that some of your constituents have in your district? Because in my district, it was the roads, but now they're paving. It was lighting. Now working with the city and Delmar Power, they're putting the LED lights up. With Dave Typanis, he's doing some work. And another one was laundering and public safety.
Right.
So it was really four of them, because I did a survey. And I think public safety came first, laundering came second, and then they talked about the roads, and it was one other one just said. Laundering? No, it was public safety, it was laundering, it was the roads, and it wasn't trash. It was another one that leaves me. But I did a whole survey, and I don't have everything in front of me.
Well,
but
for the first, I want to be clear. Experience matters. And serving that long as a civic president, I understand the issues, not because I understand them, because the community has related them to me.
Okay.
And when you ask what's the issues in the community, and they always been, it's quality of life issues. It's surrounded with loitering, cleanliness of the streets, and vacant, abandoned properties. Obviously, there's different concerns, because the first is a community of neighborhoods. So we at 29th Street, you have another set of issues. At 33rd Madison, you have another set of issues. On Hawthorne, you have another set of issues. But the main concern that I hear, and I appreciate you asking that question, I've not voted on one issue that I did not go back to the constituents of the person and ask them for their opinion about.
Good for you.
Not one. And rather it was.
So you're involved with your constituents,
I'm
as I am.
involved with my constituents. So, but these have been long-standing issues that we feel comfortable addressing. I work with the First District Planning Council, and that's Sabira Ibrahim. She
does a good job.
She does an excellent job keeping us informed and navigating those issues. We work. I mean, the First District Planning Council has put lights in. We put $100,000 in Speakman Park.
It looks good,
and we're still working on that. And I want to throw this out there to make sure that everybody. You might have heard me say this before. Civic associations, including planning councils, is the last line of defense for our neighborhoods in the city. You take those away, that involvement, and you're going to lose a lot. And and so if there's some thoughts that we don't need planning councils,
we do.
I'm going to be not in that favor. And I don't say that for any political gain, just because I see how they operate. And any administration coming in should make certain that they understand the value of the planning council.
Well, I've been saying that for the longest. The civic associations and neighborhood planning used to be the backbone. And that's what I was missing in the 3rd District. And took it upon myself to do some things I shouldn't have done. But that was because I used to be very involved with the civic association. And I know how important it is to have a civic, because they're the backbone. So if you have any individuals in any district that's not involved or pushing for that civic association, it's going to be a big gap there.
A big gap.
It's a big gap, because that's what helps council members moving. That pushes, that allows you come to the meeting, you tell the council members what your thoughts are. But I want to skip that. I want to talk about another issue that needs to be addressed. Is some of these corner stores. And like you said, in every district, it's a different situation. I have addressed the corner store issue in the 3rd district. I had 2 of them. I was very instrumental in having 2 of them closed down. And they end up opening back up one after a year and one after a year and a half. And to me, if you could come in the community and make money, you should be able to come into community and follow the rules.
That's right.
I don't want a store open till 1 o'clock. Corner store, it just shouldn't be open to 1 o'clock, especially if it's an area where people are loitering. So I was able to work on that, and they are back open, but you can see the change.
Right.
And now we're having an issue, and up in your area, you don't have a lot of liquor stores. Up in the 3rd district, we have about 10 liquor stores in a couple mile radius. It's ridiculous. But just some of the things that, we've been working on. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about some other things a little later, but council has really moved forward with the budget. You want to speak a little bit about the budget? Sure.
I think, again, experience matters. We looked at the budget, and we saw that there were some gaps. So what did we do as council? Not on an individual basis, as council, we work together a lot better than people may think we do. But we looked at the budget. We wanted to make certain there was an allocation for funds to help people pay the water bill. We increased that. It was $250,000 last year. I believe now it's about 270 to 75.
And we still have a lot of money.
We still have a lot of money. So if you need help paying your water bill, call Councilman White. You can reach us at the City Council office.
Or call 311.
311. And again, follow up. That's my accountability. What else did we do? We wanted to make certain that minority businesses had a stakehold, had an ability. The city went through about $300,000 last year. We made certain that we put $350,000. This is Black small business
And
month.
you can tell the difference. You look around and you see the new businesses popping up, different places, minority businesses.
Minority business.
And people are really excited, and they come up to us. I know they've been up, said some few words and some notes. We've all received notes thanking us,
Right.
But I advise people go to the small business, association and community service building, because we don't have a whole lot of money.
No.
So,
but we have the ability to leverage it.
That's right.
And again, we talk about how do you leverage experience to the benefit of everybody. I worked on minority business issues under the Seals administration, under the Baker administration, and I get it. I understand what it takes, and it's not all about money. Sometimes it's about mentorship.
Yes,
Sometimes it's about making sure you have the right business plan. Sometimes it's about encouragement. And so I had somebody tell something. Let me make a quick story. Entrepreneur is in the food business. They gave up one location and wanted to go to the other. And they signed a lease requiring them to pay a lot of money a month. And I said to them, well, do you have an attorney to review this, right, before you enter the lease? And they turned to me and said something that I will never ever forget. They said, Vincent, we're first generation business owners. We don't know about all of that. And that rang true to me. How many of us are out here with a
what did they say?
That means that there weren't all the questions I was asking.
They didn't understand.
They didn't have an attorney. They didn't know that these things were about. They didn't know how to go through it because they're the first people in their family.
Oh, got you.
Working on this first generation. And I felt extremely excited for them. But then I realized that's a big gap. How many other businesses, first generation, just starting out here, that don't know or don't fully understand the value of training a lawyer to review their documents?
Well, I think one thing you said that you hit on is that sometimes people just come up with a plan. Like you said, do you really have a plan?
Right.
And like you said, do you know what you're doing? So a lot of people, I want to open this. I'm like, what? And they have this great idea. I'm looking like, I don't know if you are, but I don't think you have the money to open up a host a supermarket, for
Right.
example, and this is your first time. So sometimes you have to get a plan, talk to somebody and see if that's the right thing, because we've had a lot of people who have started businesses and they're no longer open.
Exactly right. And that's
Because they just started it and they lost all their money and they look like, what did I do? I had a niece that rented a building on Market Street, on 3rd and Market, a beauty salon. She used to go to Atlanta a lot, have friends worked in it. I mean, she came back with this great idea. I mean, her and her fiance remodeled this place. I mean, it looked like something in Atlanta. I mean, it was high tech, right? The wine, the sauna, the towels. I mean, it was beautiful. And I'm looking like, to myself, it was nice, but I didn't want to say anything. But I was like, I didn't want to crush her. I'm like, I hope they have the money to keep this up. And then I was looking, it was nowhere for anybody to park. Certain jobs, certain businesses, you need parking space.
You do.
And then on 3rd and Market, there's no parking. And I was wondering how long, and it was beautiful. It lasted for about a year, maybe a year and a half, and it closed down. And one of the main reasons, because people didn't have anywhere to park. So with that being said, sometimes you have these businesses and you need to look around and make sure, and they did nails, but you just didn't have anywhere to park.
Setting up a business,
it's not easy.
Being an entrepreneur is not easy. It's not easy.
So tell me, what has been your experience since you've been on city council?
Personally, it's nothing that I thought it was.
Okay.
I think it's better than I thought it was going to be. I get to work with my colleagues to share their ideas. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. I get to delve into that budget, talk to department heads, although quote unquote we're not supposed to. I get to understand the inner workings of a city that I've lived in all my life. Right?
Isn't that so easy?
It's not so easy. And you also get to understand the challenges that as a mayoral administration has. But we have to balance those with the challenges of the community. And
we're not the mayor.
No, and we don't.
Sometimes people think that we can move mountains. Right. I mean, honestly speaking.
Right.
And we're not. That's not our job. I mean, we deal with trash. We deal with public safety. You deal with loitering. And you can say we deal with some roads. And we are legislators. A lot of things that we do, we just do because we like our job.
Right.
But, people call me about their electric bills. That's not what I do. So I send them out to Miss Edie, out to, Rose Hill Community Center. I mean, I refer people on, but certain things, like housing. I'm not a rental agent. I have a lot of people calling me. It's a shortage on housing. Talk about the little housing projects you have.
Well,
you work with the Reach Riverside. You're working with the
I
Bennett Street. You have
everybody.
several hats. Okay.
Experience matters. I work with everybody. And there's not a more...
So if someone's looking for a home, could they give you a call?
No.
Okay.
No, they couldn't give me a call because I don't have that kind of access.
Oh, that's not true. Okay.
But what I do have is an understanding of housing needs. I'm building currently 17 townhomes for sale at East Lawn and 33rd Street. First new construction project on that side of town, Market Street, in over 20 years.
Good.
$2.9 million.
Wow.
Homes will sell for $300,000. Top of the quality.
And
right next to the library, across from
so are they able to call you for that or no?
There's a realtor that's assigned, Gary Williams. They can call him from the sign.
Gotcha.
But let's talk about what else.
I have a few minutes left.
Okay, the Delaware Affordable Housing Group, real quick, it's called DAG. We work with partners, nascent developers who want to get into the development arena.
That's a different.
Okay. And we give them a house. And their job is to renovate that house and then to rent that house out. They do that for 5 years, and then we'll come back and we'll buy that property. So if you go to dag.org, you can find information about that property. But let's also talk about I serve on the Delaware Council on Housing, which has oversight for all the ARPA money that was spent.
Well, do individuals know, because we have 2 minutes, that Councilman Vince White walked to Dover for housing? I thought that was, I
walked 50 miles, yes.
50 miles.
50 miles, day and night, to support housing, the need for more housing.
Affordable housing.
More, yes.
Well, one thing I'm going to say about Vince in closing, I'll let you say a few words because time is up. Since you've been on council, you have been very instrumental. It's always good to hear a different opinion. We agree sometimes we don't agree, but then it's over. This is just a democracy. I don't take this job where if we disagree, we may have a little few words, and then it's the end of it. We could go out and have a glass of water, a glass of wine. Or if it's really heated, I may not talk to you for a day or two, but then when we come back, it's not that serious, you know? We should be able to agree to disagree.
Right.
We should be able to share our opinions. And you have been one on council that I've been able to do that with, and I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate another man on council. So that's really good. Right. So what would you like to say in closing?
I would like to say this.
Another strong man on council.
You know, experience matters. One of the things I'm most proud of is the fact that I've given out $18,000, $30,000 in scholarships to First District residents. And I follow up with those individuals, and it makes a difference between them going to college of their choice or not going to college of their choice. That is powerful.
Yes, it is.
That we have these babies who desire higher education, and I'm able to give them a little leg up. Obviously, they get more of that support from their mother, from their parents, but that
makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference, and I'm thrilled to be able to do that. So across the board, I get to serve the most needy, you know, and I need to be the voice of the district on issues that matter most, and that's an honor and a blessing to be able to do that.
Well, it's an honor and a blessing. Tell folks what you're running for. And
I'm Councilman White. I'm running to do the job I'm already doing, to be the council person for the First District. You know, again, I don't say it lightly. I'm your voice on council. I'm a fighter for the First District. I've advocated for the best things that can come out of that. And on September the 10th, support me to elect me as Councilman White, and let's keep moving progress.
I like your slogan, proven results.
Proven results.
I like that.
You know,
I like that.
I think anybody that's met me know I get things done, and you know I'm all business. I'm an independent thinker.
Yeah.
You know, I'm rational, and like you said, we may not agree on things, but that's fine. But it's not going to stop me from advocating for the best for the district or the city.
That's right. Well, thank you, Councilman Vince White, for coming on. I hope to see you next week and continue doing the work that you do. I really respect you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
You got to pay back. Revenge.
Welcome back to Community Crossfire. My brother's on vacation. I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver. I'm here with my colleagues, and we're no need to introduce them because everybody in the city knows them, but I am going to allow them to say their names in their districts. Starting with you. No, I'm not starting with you. Starting with my sister.
Ladies first.
Hello, everybody. Like she said, I'm no new person to this camera and to the city. My name is Councilwoman Bregetta Fields, and I represent the 5th District. And the 5th District is comprised of a little bit of Trinity vicinity. I have West Center City, Quaker Hill, the Lower Hilltop, Tilton Park, Cool Spring, and the tip of Little Italy.
Yes, and good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Johnson, and I represent the 7th District. So I'm the neighbor to the 5th District, Little Italy, Hilltop, going out to Westmoreland, the Union Park Gardens, pretty much the whole southwest edge of the city. So I love, and I have a little bit of Cool Springs too.
Yeah.
You know, Chris, I'm going to start with you. I didn't realize until you said that last night that you're over in Delaware Avenue. Where do you stop? Right there at the gas station? Right there?
Yes, it stops right at the gas station. And we did have redistricting, as you know, so it's a little bit different than it was. But pretty much that's the outer edge, and then it goes over to the 8th District.
Can you tell me a little bit about the funding that y'all have up there that you're helping with the small, just before you came in, Councilman White and I were just talking about the good work that y'all have going up there. Could you talk about that? Because my friend received the young lady Pumpkin that came up to the city council, she received a grant for her beauty salon. So that was one of the reasons I also brought. I didn't get a chance to mention. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So that's really continuing the work that we've all worked on. This is the small business grants, except this batch of grants we actually do through Westside Grows. So those of you know, Paul Calistro, Sarah Lester, they're the heads of the organization Westside Grows. They actually allow me and Councilwoman Fields to do what we do on the West Side.
Now,
So they actually administer the grants.
Now, my question really, what someone asked me, is that just for West Side businesses?
Just for
Pretty
West
much.
Side. Well,
Because I told them they need to move over.
well, they do. So the way it works, this branch of grants is for West Side. But as you know, West Side Grows really helps the whole city. If you remember during COVID, go back way back then, the all the money that was going out, the small business grants, working with Wilmington Alliance. Remember, you had those recovery grants. Those were actually through Westside Grows. So Westside Grows worked with Wilmington Alliance to give them to everyone.
So tell me a couple on Union Street, because they really up in that area. Can you name a couple of them?
Yes. So I know Juice Joint. Is
where are they
one
located?
They're right on Union as well.
I can't find them.
It's
Go
right where Councilwoman McCoy, the edge of her district. So
Okay.
right,
Like
Dino's,
Dino's as well on the same block.
Ice Water Ice, they're on the same.
Oh, I need to go by there and
What
give them a
Dino's
play.
is.
And what's the other one?
Dino's, I know Salon, I know Walter Steakhouse. They've received
They have
some
pumpkins.
grants.
I just told you.
Pumpkin
Yes.
has. So yeah, we've been.
I've been all up and around there. Oh, Gore's Funeral Home.
Yes.
He's
And-
received some money.
And the key is, I'm old school, like you all. I go everywhere in the community, and part of it, especially the facades and people that need their front fixed, I go and ask, because a lot of the businesses don't know about the grant. So I say, look, you can get your awning fixed. You can get this fixed, that fixed. So it's been really great grants, and that's why I'm proud. One of the proudest things I've done on council, working with you all, is getting those money for the small businesses. Small and minority businesses really has made a huge difference in our city.
And Councilman Fields, you have some of the small business. I know a couple of ribbon cuttings. What's a couple of them? Because that's really big that we have got that money in. That's why I like to discuss that for the minority businesses. It's never happened on council. And, under our leadership, we were able to put that in. So, a lot of people think they just don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but we do a lot of work for our community.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, it's something I just, can't buy individuals a home or anything like that. But we do the ground roots, and we sit up and we have discussions. We're in the meetings, head of finance or the budget meetings. We all meet, talk about some issues, and come back and say, what do you think about this and A, B, and C? And we all come at the table, not all of us, but most of us come at the table and come up with some logical ideas. But can you mention two of, some ribbon cuts? I know you're
Sure. I did a couple of ribbon cuttings.
I know your girl was over there.
They were in Chris's district, so he and I worked together.
Okay.
Just to ensure, because
There's a young lady up there. You had
it's a young lady. It's two actually. That's right there on 4th Street.
Right.
She has the nail salon,
Right.
and she does like women things. So her name, the name of the shop is called Lux.
That's what I'm thinking about.
And then there is a Hispanic smoke shop, and she's able to. She's gotten a grant, and she is able to She speaks Spanish, and she helps the people send their money. Western Union. She could do lottery now, and her uncle owns the corner store directly across the street from him. From them. So they're working.
What street is that on?
That is it's on 4th Street, but when you make that left, it's on Connell. So right there on the corner of 4th and Connell.
On Connell.
Yeah.
You want to talk about, I see how you advocated, you've been advocating and finally came through. The park over there looks great.
Thank you.
So talk a little about what's been placed in the park. What do you have new over there?
Ooh,
Kudos to you.
Thank you so much. First, I really like to say I thank all my colleagues for just being patient with me, working with me, going through that whole process. I started working on it when I first got into office, and so this has been a long time coming. We have a new pavilion. We have new benches. We have a full basketball court.
That has never been over
Never.
in Wilmington. I mean, always the focus, has always been on the inside. And to see when I know how long you've been working on it, you've been talking about it. And to ride by that one day, when they were getting started, I stopped and looked. I took a picture at the very beginning so I can have a picture of the beginning and the end.
Absolutely.
So I've been just as happy for you as you have been for your constituents.
Thank you.
I mean, because it's hard to everybody can't get everything at once.
Right.
So to see that you finally, like you said, ever since you've been in there, you've been working on it, and now look, it come to tuition.
Yeah. It
looks nice. It's
thank
coming.
you.
When will it be completed?
We're waiting on the bleachers.
Okay.
Because we're going to have 2 sets of bleachers.
Okay.
By the basketball court.
That's nice.
And also, let me just say this, that I had the opportunity to secure $300,000 in the bond bill this year to get the other side of Helen Chambers Park done, the grass area. So that's going to be done. And we're looking to, thank you.
That's cool.
And we're looking to maybe put like a little walk area around there, but
Okay.
still leave the field open so the kids can
play in there.
play football or whatever the case may
How's
be.
that water? How's the water? Is the sprinkler still working?
The sprinklers
I
do
like
still
that
work
one.
over there. It still works over there. And one of my constituents, this is what I love about being in the community, right? Because we are all community-based individuals. So we could be dressed any kind of way and they know who we are.
Right.
And one said, well, you know what? Since you have the big court down here for the big guys, how about bringing those, the ones at the top by Helen Chambers statue, bring them down for the smaller kids.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
put, and just
So
put
they
2.
can have. So they're not out there with the grown folks.
Right.
That's really good. What about on Adams? I mean, what's that down on 4th Street to the left? Is that the
basketball court?
Yes,
Yes.
over there. That's really good.
Yeah.
Chris, talk about a little bit that's going on up on the hill with that Lancaster Avenue. I see the houses are tore down. And what else? I know Bud, y'all did some work up there. What's going on up there?
More the flats project. Is that what you're
Yeah,
talking?
flats.
So the flats. So we just and we improved on City Council in June. Finally the go ahead for the phase 4.
Right.
So the remaining apartments near the houses near Bayard Street. Those are going to be we are going to be relocating some of the residents. So that is coming soon, but is working with Woodlawn to completely rebuild those 2. So that's the last phase.
What did y'all did a whole new baseball field up there?
Yeah, so right around the corner, that's Woodlawn Park. So that's where Clemente League plays. Those of you who know that league and how much they do for our youth.
Yes.
We have funding, thankfully, from our federal partners and state partners to completely revamp. We did a lot of irrigation work. There is a additional phase where there's going to be new bleachers as well. So that's actually looking really good for the kids because that's been one league that's been near and dear to my heart, the Clemente League, because a lot of our constituents in the 5th and 7th participate in a league, both Hispanic and non-Hispanic, and it's really a great league. And so we needed to give them a top-notch field, but also the top-notch event space because we want them to do other concerts and things. As you know, they have the little area where they can have food now, but we want to expand it. So we have to thank Senator Coons, U.S.
Yes.
Senator Coons. He did provide some funding for a lot of the work, and it's continuing again to improve the little things. The parks matter because our youth spend a lot of time there.
So what else is going on? I mean, Chris, talk about the budget a little bit. Some of the things, maybe a few. I mean, give us 2 things.
We just had Councilman White
Vince,
here.
he said a little.
And what do I say is, I have one. I'm blessed to have one of the most important jobs on the council. Working with the administration and doing this for a lot of years now, trying to negotiate for our communities. And what I have to say is I learned because I was on the committee back when Bud Friel was the chair, and I learned in how to navigate. And what I learned is we need to get help directly to people.
That's right.
And that's something I think if you look at our budget year after year after year, we're getting direct money to residents, direct money, home repair money, small business grants, dollars right in people's pocket. That's what matters. And that's what makes this job so rewarding because we're able to finally get more money. Even our community discretionary dollars, as you know. Councilwoman Oliver, you've gotten on me about this. We've tripled the amount of money we're able to get to the community.
And we should have had more.
But that matters.
Yes,
'Cause
it
remember,
does.
at the end of the last session, we had, that was like $7,000 or something for the whole year.
Yeah.
For a whole community, each district.
Right.
And it just wasn't enough money.
Yeah.
Then we've tripled that, more than
right.
tripled that. And so that's been part of a rewarding experience that we can sponsor community events now.
Yeah.
We can sponsor even water ice events. We can
Yeah.
sponsor support nonprofits. Like that's the thing I'm proudest of, that we figured out how to maneuver the money and we can get it to our community. So I'm proud of that.
So what has been one of the most rewarding things for you? Just, I think that in your district. I think with all of us is just one of the main things I can say is just advocating for our constituents. You know, you get beat up a lot. I mean, that comes with the territory.
Absolutely.
You know, you have to have thick skin in this. You know, a lot of things that people come at us about really belongs to the state level.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I've had people from the state legislators call me up and say, or text me and say, Zanthia, I heard about this. Y'all have no jurisdiction over this. Why do they keep coming to council talking to y'all about this? Wow, they need to know where to go. So I don't think a lot of people are informed about a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Some of it belongs to Dover. I mean, schools, we don't have anything to do with schools. Not that we're not involved and shouldn't be involved, because we're very involved. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to get into some of the things we've been, but I know I go to a lot of the board meetings in the school district. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want to get into Christina, but it just needs improvement. But I'm saying we do a lot of things for the community that is not even in our arena.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just because we are council members, and council members are advocates, period. So we do go out of our way to do a lot of things, you know, and I know I do. That sometimes has got me into trouble.
Yeah.
But I was going
All
to
of
say,
us.
but if we look at what our jobs are, it's, I always say, make it easy. It's to keep the streets safe and clean. You know, so it's public safety mainly, sanitation. Say it again. You know, parks.
That's
right.
And lights.
So,
and lights. Keep everything lit up.
And so that is our main job. So everything
come
we
up
do
with
is
legislation
driven by that. Yes.
Right.
And so our purview, unfortunately, we're not like many cities like Philadelphia, Chicago, New York, where we have education. We have, you know, mental health department.
We don't have all that money.
We don't have that.
Look, what you lived in Philly. What is the Philly budget, roughly?
It's I think like $1 billion.
Right, and what is our
crazy.
budget? I mean, you're talking about
what's our
several
budget?
billion.
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of money here. So they could do a lot of things. I know a lot of people look at other jurisdictions and think we can do it, but we just can't. You know, and, you know, talking about affordable housing, you know, look what's going on in Riverside. I mean, they're building affordable houses over there. Look what's going on.
Flats.
On the
like
flats.
I just mentioned,
The flats.
Lower Hilltop.
Look at Lower Hilltop.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at what's going on in Bennett Street. I mean, we are working with affordable housing. I think a lot of people talk about robbing them. They are private sectors.
Yes.
So they do have some affordable housing. I have some clients that live in some of their apartments, but that's not what they're into.
Right.
We just don't have the money. We don't have the money just to have a whole bunch of affordable housing. But I don't think we're doing a job.
No, we're not.
I mean,
We're
I've been
not.
over Jersey. I've been over in Philly, certain parts of Philly. I've been in certain parts of Maryland and New Jersey. And I'm here to tell you, we having a problem. We have a problem here with the homeless walking all around. Not just homeless. I mean, and you're talking about, you know, people that have an addiction. And I paid a young guy. I said, could you please find out where some of these people are coming from, because you were into some of the things they're into. And I'm just seeing on the east side, it's like a whole lot, it's a difference. So I didn't know if people was dropping people off to try to move people out, because sometimes that happens, or is it something else going on? And he came back to me 2 days later and said, Miss Oliver, you know, a lot of these people told me they're getting bus tickets, tickets from Philly, bus tickets from Jersey. And I said, what do you mean they're getting bus tickets? He said, that people are giving them bus tickets and telling them to go to Wilmington. And I'm like, are you serious? He said, yeah, so they're going down to the Sunday breakfast mission. So people are seeing an influx of people walking around. Because, I mean, you normally see the people you know, like the twin, you know some people, you've seen them before. But then I'm seeing people like, whoa, it's a lot. But I just want to mention that it's another issue going on here. And it's with the homeless. And there again, we do about that?
Let me explain. Sure. Let me go.
Go ahead.
Go there with you. So I had a constituent that reached out to me on Facebook, and she asked me. She said she lives in Cool Springs, so she said, I want to know, what are you going to do with the homelessness and the drug addicts or whatever. And I said, What do you mean? What am I going to do? So, I basically told her, I said, that's not underneath my jurisdiction. However, I do know that there's two different organizations that come on a daily basis for a few hours to work with that population. Mm-hmm. I said, so it is really a state issue. And however, I'm willing to work with my state legislators to see how we can make things happen. And so somebody said, somebody commented and said, you're just pushing the kicking the can down the road. No. And that is not that's just not in my jurisdiction to handle.
And that's why I brought it up, because someone was calling me about it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
but what I do point, and again, I like to talk about hope and change and what we have done. And one thing the three of us I know supported, and we were instrumental in helping get establishes the Partners in Care program.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So what I tell people is that, look, we have now 3 embedded social workers with Wilmington Police. So when you get the drug calls, they get them on the east side. We now have a social worker that can go out. So we have done something.
Yes,
we
have
done. We put the money in there.
We try to do what we can. Because again, we don't have I wish we had 100 social workers in the city. But council is stepping up. I know the leadership.
And that's money that should be coming, hopefully, from the state, and they should be providing that fund, So maybe they're sending money so we can get more social workers. And maybe
because I talk to them, and this is personal. I go out and I talk to them, the unhoused, those suffering from addiction, some of the sex trafficking victims. You see them on Lancaster Avenue, 4th Street. I talk to them, give them my card, to find out their story a lot of times, just to find out how I can help. And I've always done it through the years. Some reach out, a lot of them don't reach back out to me, but I try to figure out how I can connect them, because we have SOAR in Delaware, which is a sexual sex trafficking, sexual assault survivors organization. So because their daughters, their mothers, they are out there doing what they have to do or suffering from addiction. So I try, but the problem is, as a city, we don't have a treatment center we can put them in.
That's what I was talking about.
There's such a lack of beds, long-term and short-term treatment.
How much can Brother Ron do?
Yeah, he can only but do so much, absolutely.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the budget. One thing I like to say, we did invest to increase and bonus for first-time responders, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some good stuff, right?
That again is something I think we've all voted in favor of. It's something that is the most important thing, because they're on the front line protecting our residents.
And let's put that on the record. You voted for the budget?
I voted for the budget.
You voted for the budget.
I certainly did.
So when you vote for the budget, that means you voted to move the city forward. So otherwise, that means you're not for the firefighters, you're not for the police, you just want the city to go bankruptcy. Another thing that we created and found first time in the city was for the speed bumps. Yes. We set a launch for the fall, but we voted for that.
Yes.
For some speed bumps to be put in place. We all voted for that in certain areas of the city as a pilot program. So we did that. Chris talked about the 45% reduction in what?
In violence.
That's
45% reduction. And this is something that can't go overlooked.
No.
Is that we have historic lows in violent crime. In both of you have the hardest hit districts in the city.
Yes, and mine has decreased 47% in Cool Springs and Selton Park, and it has decreased about maybe 50 some odd percent in West Center City, Quaker Hill, and
we're still working on the quality of life.
Mine increased over in the Northeast area, and mine has decreased in the East Side, and just the drug addiction has increased. The fentanyl.
Well, that's the last part, is that quality of life stuff has increased, because there are more car break-ins. There are those kind of things, but those are quality of life related to addiction that we're still fighting.
Yeah.
And those are the issues.
So, I just kind of wanted to mention, going back to that Facebook post, a lot of people say, if they see it in one part of the district, it's not too much of their issue. But when they see it, it's not on my block, not in my neighborhood. So when you have to see it, it wakes everyone up, right? But I live it every day.
That's what
I live on that side, so I see it. My doors do get checked. I see. I have family members that I could actually see in a stoop, and I got to blow the horn and do things like that. And another thing, when you said the influx of people, the influx is ridiculous. However, are we paying attention to the nationality or the culture of these people that are homeless and that are in drug addictions. We have to pay attention to that number as well.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Then we're going to go back to some other good stuff. But the reason why I mentioned that, because the influx that I'm seeing is Caucasians.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's why I am such a heavy advocate, a strong advocate with this fentanyl, because it has no color and it has no zip code.
Yes.
And it is really sad just to see all these influx of people coming. You have Black, you have Spanish, and you have Caucasians coming from all over. They are literally on 9th Street. I just talked to Chief about it. State Representative Bowden just met with him in her house about it. You go down right now, 9th Street, they are literally shooting up, smoking. I mean, it looks like Kinston out there, and something needs to be done. But on a good note, let's talk about, Chris, you're running for what? Because we have a few more minutes. What are you running for? And tell them why you want to be reelected.
To continue moving our city forward. And again, the stress is moving our city forward. And one thing I'm proudest of is accomplishment. So for me, if you even go to my website, chrisjohnson-de.com, you look at all my legislation. And I'm proudest of, I think in the past few years, I've probably entered and passed the most legislation on council. And working with my colleagues, that's the thing that moves our city forward. And so for me, it's again, my approach is again, leadership, but through listening to my community and listening to others, and so that we can get results for it.
And and then I'm going to go to Councilman Phil. Sometimes people don't see you, but they don't know you're working.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't see you, but don't realize you're really working.
Yes, that is
so I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm a quiet warrior. As
okay,
people know,
that's why I said
is that the results of what we do, you see, and you see in the crime reduction.
You might do something in the background.
You see,
Yours
see all that
in the background.
And certainly there's public facing events, but there's a lot we do behind the scenes to continue to move the city forward.
That's right. Go ahead.
Okay, so hello again. I am Bregetta Fields, Councilwoman for the 5th District. And why should you vote for me?
That's right.
See the change. I know you've seen the change in the 5th District. I know you've seen the Rodney Reservoir. It has been demolished, and it is going to be the first park in over 50 years, like just our whole park redeveloped, right? That's what I'm proud of. We have $2 million in the bond bill to rebuild that, to actually build that park. We had a lot of constituents play a part in the design and the graphics, so that's community engagement. Secondly, like we mentioned earlier, my parks, Tilton Park, I got done with the help. Now, keep in mind, with the help of the administration and some state legislators. Tilton Park. I got Helen Chambers Park. We cleaned up with the community engagement police department. We've cleaned up Carpenter Street. We've cleaned up 7.5. 7.5 is still a problem, but we're cleaning it up. We have the clean teams. We've given them more money to go in the neighborhoods and clean up. I work with Wilmington Alliance to make sure that they're bringing arts into West Center City to engage our community, our kids, and their parents. So we have yoga for women, men, painting for the kids and the parents. I could go. It's a list of things. It's a list of things. Oh, and we definitely, I do have to say, we're paying attention. Yeah. Right? We're paying attention. And just like she said, we're meeting every day. We're on calls every day, all day.
We've been on break. I can't even tell we've been on break. This is our vacation.
So that's why sometimes we can't attend those community meetings. We can't go to those civic association meetings.
And I tell anybody, like sometime with neighborhood planning, that the neighborhood plan, that's why the people over there, that's why you're in charge. Because that's what you do. You sit down, you figure out what you want for your neighborhood planning, and then I come in and help assist.
But the thing I appreciate about you ladies the most, and honestly, it's been a joy working with you all, and I look forward to many more years, because what it is you have vision, and that's something that I cherish. Is you have to have vision, and then the know-how to make that happen. Like I said, when we went to Newark, New Jersey 4 years ago, and said, how are we going to figure out how to fix crime? And we went and studied and worked with them.
We took the mayor there.
Took the mayor there.
You, myself,
went
and,
up there,
and McCoy.
And we said, how are we going to get this to Wilmington? And
that's
we did it, and we see the results.
And they brought the teams here through Joe Paul.
And we see
Guy
the
Joe
crime
Paul
reduction. And
with,
so that is government in action. And that's what Wilmington can look to expect from Johnson, Fields, and Oliver,
Yeah.
is that you see someone that we know how to problem
Action.
solve.
Yes.
Because it's easy to know, everybody knows the problem.
Yeah.
But how do you problem solve? And that's what we
I
do.
like
That's
that.
it.
Okay, so we're going to come back on because Storm's on vacation for about a month, so we're going to have some fun, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So don't everybody call us and come on because we got enough to talk about. So I'm going to come back next week and talk about some other things. But one thing I would like to say, as a council person, it is about being visible sometime. And, I think we have all been visible enough that people know that we are working the best that we can. Are we perfect? No. If you have some issues, feel free to call me at 576, all of us, 576-2140, and leave a message. We are out on break now, but it doesn't seem like we're out on break. But I'm Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver, running for re-election for the 3rd District. Please cast your vote for me. Why? Because I'm an advocate and a voice for the people. Alone we can do nothing. Together we can get a lot done.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
I'm mad. Got to get back. I need some get back.